What I'm doing here is a very quick beginner video on how to set up monitors. The very first thing I'm going to do is take up where I left off on the other video. And I always want to go down here and check my 4 FX buses. I do this often. And what I'm doing is I'm clicking on them one at a time and I'm making sure that these 4 faders are down. I always want those down, otherwise I'm looping effects on my effects with disastrous results. 99% of the time when you're using your XR, you're going to want the main left and right selected, and we're just going to leave it that way for right now. So now we want to go ahead and just make sound come out of our aux buses for monitors. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here and we're going to select in and out. And we'll go ahead and we'll click on that real quick, and we're just going to check our routing real quick. We click on input. You see everything's down a line. They're all the same color with the circles. That's the way you want it to look in a default setting. We'll skip the next 3 because they don't matter. They're more for recording. We're going to go to your auxiliary outputs. Again, they look just like that. Then we'll click on main output here just to check, and they are just like that. So that's all we want to do there. If they don't look like, if yours don't look like that and you just want kind of a basic default setting, then this is what you need to do. So now we'll click out of that window. The next thing we're going to do is go to Utility. We'll click on Utility, and then we're going to click on Select Buses, and this will bring up the window for the buses. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is come down here and make sure that none of these are muted. If the buses are muted, no sound's going to come out. Then we also want to make sure that the fader's brought up, because that will also prevent any sound from coming out your aux buses for your monitors. So in this case, I just have them all set right at unity. Okay, so now once we've done that, there's no mutes. We've got the volume levels up on them. We can go ahead and close the bus windows. Now to send signal, there are 3 ways you can send signals from a channel to the aux bus. And that's using the sends, but there's 3 different ways you can access them. Right now we're in the mixer overview over here in the top left, and this shows what's going on. And if we look at this section here, these bars in yellow, these 6 bars here represent your 6 aux buses. So right now you can see that I have signal going to the different aux buses. So, and I can get rid of that or change that by just go ahead and click on them with my mouse and drag them over, and I can remove that signal from those buses. This is kind of an awkward way of, it's an easy way to see what's going to each bus, but it's kind of an awkward way. It doesn't give you a very fine control. So now let's say I do want to have my center vocal going to aux bus 2 because I have his monitor plugged into aux bus. So I'll go from this window. It doesn't even matter if I have them selected or not, but I'll go ahead and select just so it shows. Now I have channel 14, which is my center vocal, and he says, hey, I want to have my voice in aux bus 2. I can come over here and I can just drag this over. Again, it's not a very fine control. I usually don't do it this way, but now I've brought some of his voice into aux bus 2. The guitar player on the left says, hey, can you bring some of his vocal into my monitor? And his monitor is monitor 1. I can come up here to the top spot and I can drag a little of his vocal in there. Okay, the second way to do it is I can click on channel and I can bring up the channel overview. Now here's again, I have the center vocal, and you can see he's in a little bit of he's got a lot of his voice in monitor 2, and he's got a little bit going into monitor 1. If I also want to put him in monitor 3, I can just go ahead and drag this over there. If I do that, when I go back to the mixer overview, you'll see that now he's been added to channel 3 as well. The third way to do this is we can go over here just below the main left and right button, and we can select on a bus at any time, and this will show what channels are being sent to that bus. So right now, if we go to bus 1, you can see these channels where the faders are moved up are being sent to bus 1. So right now, this guy has, the guy that's standing in front of monitor 1, he has a little bit of keyboard coming in. He has a lot of his vocal going in and a little bit of the center vocal and the drum vocal going into his monitor. And I can adjust them just by moving the fader. Now, I don't know if you can see this as well in the video, but if you look up top while I'm moving the fader, you'll see up here that it's also showing in the overview that that's being adjusted as well. So I can see what's going into that monitor. Then to adjust the guy standing in front of the center monitor says, hey, let's do my monitor now. I go ahead, I click on bus 2, which is plugged into my center monitor, and I can show what's going in. He has nothing going in but his own voice and a little bit of the left vocal going in. And he says, all right, well, I want a little more of that left vocal going in. So I can just go ahead and bring that up here. And then he might say something like, bring a little acoustic guitar in or something too. So I can bring that up and bring up acoustic guitar. So those are the 3 ways that you can go ahead and send signal to your buses for your monitors.